Okay, so in this episode, we're moving on. We first did the introduction to the game development playlist that we're going to be doing here. And then in the second episode, after we talked about all the technology and things in the first, we got into opening up GameGuru, going over the basics of just getting started. And we created a terrain and laid it down on the... we went over the different biomes, created the terrain, laid it down, and finished off there. So where we're going to pick up here is we're just going to do a quick overpiece of some of the other components of the storyboard. Then we're going to jump into the editor, go over a bunch of the tools in the editor, and do maybe a little bit of terrain editing. Show you how those tools work. Then we'll stop the video at that point. I can finish doing the terrain editing on the layer and stuff, get it ready to go, and get some objects and things placed in. Then in the following video, we can come in and talk about behaviors and things like that. So that's where we're going to go, and I will see you back here after the credits. Okay, so we're back, and what we've got going on here is we're back at the storyboard. This is where we left off. We had just built our little area for our island home, and then we'd closed out. So I just quickly want to show you how you can change up your title screen, loading screens, etc. They're really simple to edit in the storyboard. And now you can drag these things around too, right? Like you can take this and move it around. I thought I could move this around. Add edit storyboard. Okay, well, we're going to edit this. Editing the title screen. So these are all pre-canned actions. Load game, if you've got a save point, start the game, about the game, quit the game, etc., etc., and there's your backdrop. So what I can do is I can change all this out to whatever text colors I want. So let's say here I want to go more with... I don't know, let's go with a dark green, maybe a foresty green. Do the same down here. Text color, again, foresty green. I'm not using the same green, obviously, but you can. I just don't have it memorized. I can copy this. I believe I can Control C in here. Okay, go back up to here. Text color. There we go, yeah. Down here about, text color. And again, on this one, text color. There. Now, I don't necessarily like this background. I can change it out to something later. Or I could just change it out right now. So right here, it says default. You can remove it altogether. Just a black loading screen. Could probably change color on that. Put a grid to organize things, move them around. But I'm going to actually go and put a backdrop image in. I've got a bunch of different ones here I can work with. This one looks kind of, what have I got? Alien-y, techie. I don't know. I'm going to go with this one. I'm going to add my own at a later date, but for now, that'll be a different thing. But for now, I'm going to show you. I'm going to just use that one, and I'm going to go. So import down here will let you bring in your own if you have them. So add selected image. There we go. Now that green doesn't turn out so good on there, so that may not have been a good choice. So we're actually going to change that up again to something that the green works better with. Sure, let's use this one. There we go. That might have been the one I started with even, I don't know. But the green shows up better on there. So anyway, that's that. So then now, that's been saved. All I need to do, and you can add buttons to sounds and do all sorts of stuff here. But I'm just going to go back now. And you can see in the storyboard that has been updated. And you can do that anywhere. You can do that with whatever you want, right? But now we know what that's all about. You can also export from here. You can save your standalone game. There's advanced settings, standalone test all levels. It's yeah, there's lots of stuff here. Add new level, add existing level. And I think add existing level, you could probably pull it out of other projects. I haven't tried that, so I don't know. But you can, down in here, you can duplicate the level, rename the level, delete the level, take a screenshot. So if you were going to do, for instance, the duplicate level would be very useful. Say you're going to have this island home thing I build. Well, say you've got another level that takes place and you go somewhere else, do something, but then you need to come back here in the story. Well, you can duplicate this level at any point that you want, and now you've got, and then you can go in and make it maybe like the village has been burned and there's particle effects and it's all smoking and on fire, and you've replaced a few of the buildings with like burned out versions of the buildings or rubble or whatever. So you can story drive without having to do all the work again and trying to exactly copy all the stuff that you've done. You can actually duplicate a level and you can use it as a story driven plot down the road. So, and you could do that now if you're planning to do it now. Like if you storyboard it out, your project on a whiteboard or a scrum board or something, then what you could do is say, well, I'm going to need 3 of these exactly the same for different stages in the story. So you can just create them now, don't put any links to them, and then come back and work on them later if you've built the base template how you want it to be. So that's kind of important. But now we're going to go into here, into the level editor. So right mouse, again, rotates you around. You know, left mouse adds or selects objects. W, S, A, D. I don't think crouch works, but anyway. And then, yeah. So we're in here. We're in our beautifully lovely area. I'm just going to walk a little closer to the water here. And what I want to do is drag my starting location. Nope, not going to do that yet. Sorry. But you can drag your starting location, put it anywhere in case you want to walk around. So I'm actually going to put it right here, right next to the water. Then I hit the little rocket. It's going to test the level. And for whatever reason, you know what? I think that I must have put it under the ground. Try it there. That's better. Must have just put it under the ground. And then I can go look at my ground texture here. You can see the nice sheen and reflection. And again, this is just medium settings. So the water would probably look a little bit better. You can also highly tweak how this water works. You can make it move lots or little. There's the water reads. We can go in and delete those. There's our trees, whatever. So we got a pretty good idea of where we're at here, and we're just going to escape. There we go. Out of engine. So we've got that. That is what the little rocket button does. This square is the object editor. So this start position is an object. So I placed my start position here next to the ocean and put myself in. This is save. Now that I put that in, I'm going to save the level, because we now have a start position to work from. This brings us back to the storyboard. So the left-hand side is all the objects and things. The right-hand side is how to tweak things. I know I talked about it before, but I'm just going over it again with it in your view. So over here are all the game elements and things that you can add: start position, player checkpoints, flag, zones, wind zone, lights, text, images, particle effects, zone audio. That'd be like a zone triggers a bird or something, or somebody screaming or yelling or a gunshot going off, whatever. Background music, you can add music to a zone so it triggers a sound to play, and you can set those up to repeat or do whatever you want to. Same with videos. I don't know if videos are working or not yet, but you hit a zone and it pops up, plays a video for you, or maybe embeds it in an object. There's probably settings for that. I have not touched that yet. We will both discover that together as we try it out here at some point. So anyway, that's your objects. So current object is selected, and then there's another tab for groups. We don't have any groups. Groups are very useful as you're building an area. Say you've built a little bazaar, and you've got a little shopping stall set up, and maybe you got a couple of tables and things and a few objects on the table, whatever, and you want to utilize that again And so you build it as a group, and then you drop it on the ground after you built it. Now you could take it somewhere else and use it again, and then ungroup it, move things around slightly, and then you've got a duplicate basic thing done. Real super simple. Same thing with prefabs for like walls and buildings and things, and you know, you do your snaps, you set up your buildings, so you model imports, and you group them all together. Now you can clump them around, ungroup them, change them around a little bit, do whatever you want, right? So groups are very useful when you're doing for efficient time use of level building. So they're very good that way. And down here are all the group commands: edit group, ungroup, group, and save the group. So you can save out your groups so that you can use them in other levels moving forward, and they're not just in this level. So over on this side, you've got your positioning of your object. So everything you hover over is going to give you a little tooltip. Now you could turn that off in settings, like before when we set up our settings to go into this dark mode. In a previous video, you can turn these off and on, but they're on for the demo purposes, and also because I don't have a million hours on this software yet, so I'm still learning as I go. Very much so learning as I go. Move object, optionally find the surface and orientation. So that's what I did for this, so that it just lined up on the ground where I needed it. If I do need to move it, I can move it horizontally. And I can move it vertically. Down here is for stacking. So say you've got a table and you want to stack a potion on the table. Well, that's where you turn these on so that it'll stack on the object under it. Object to align in line with angle of any surface it will stack onto. Again, that's it'll match the surface instead of a straight stack. So this is for things perfectly level. This is like, well, if we got a stone surface and it's at a bit of an angle, we can stack something on it. Well, that whatever is going to align itself automatically to that angle. And then you can lock things once they're in place too. So you can randomly spray objects. That's, I think, mostly used for flora and fauna type stuff. You want to spray a bunch of birds on the sky or spray a bunch of grass and flowers around. You can randomly do that with an object, and then just I believe you can change the size of your brush, and then it'll just squirt a bunch of stuff out there. Really good for putting flower beds and pastures and things together. And we'll probably use that here a little bit after we get our terrain shaped. Scale, X, Y, everything like that. You can change things however you want them. And then there's advanced editing features, customize, grid alignments. So grid alignments is pretty important to go over here, especially when you start bringing your own objects in from Blender, when you want to use what's called snaps. Now, per se, you'd be making your own snaps here, but Unity, for instance, has snaps that you can buy as packages, and you just turn it on and they go snap, and they auto click together. Snap, snap, and they're all built and designed that you can use them in any conjunction like a big Lego set. So that's where grid editing comes in, because when you snap objects together and you bump them up against each other, you want them to align nicely. That's where snapping comes in. If you come past, your one mesh is in the other mesh, and you're not aligned so great, and that's just a huge waste of resources. Plus, it can look quite horrible depending on the model and the object, right? So, enabling grid mode, you can set your grid offset, and you can turn on snap mode here. So, I'm going to actually turn on snap mode. And grid positions, you can set your offset by, it's defaulted by 50 by 50. Grid size is 100 by 100. This actually, I understand the concept behind it. I did a little bit of playing with it, but honestly, it's something I'm just going to have to use to get used to, because everybody does it a little bit differently. And Tree Frog Studio, he has a good video on YouTube about exporting Blender objects and how to size them correctly to use them in a grid pattern here. Now, there's many ways to do it. He does it to line up perfectly with this grid. You could do it to line up for meters, inches, whatever. It depends how you want to do things, how you work. So anyway, that is something I'm going to probably be experimenting with and utilizing, but we're going to use snap mode, so it is on. And that is the objects, basically, and the layout of these bars. Now, what you're going to get here is the terrain editor and painter, and we're going to go over to that, and that's still to come in this video. But what we're going to do is quickly cover this other interface. So camera view, this automatically orients you centered on your space from a top-down view. So when I click that, I now have a top-down view, and if I use the mouse wheel to scroll out, you can see exactly where I'm at. What I can't see is my actual grid, though. Look at that beautiful water. And now, because we're on medium render mode, there's my grid. So there's my working area. So we can see where I'm at there with the dotted line. That's going to be my usable area. And as I said before, when you're in game, you're still going to be able to see off in the distance at the different hills and things like that, and so on and so forth. So we actually have a great little area here, but we've got a crater over here. Well, I wish I'd seen that crater earlier. I would have chosen that. Oh well, we have this area here where we've got it laid down. That's what we're working with. Now the terrain editor will allow me to change this into more of a crater wall. Like we can actually see here that we've got a wall coming up, and I can make that wall even higher all around. So we do have a little bit of a crater going on. But I could make it much more prominent if I wanted this to be like a volcano lake or something. I don't know, just thinking. You don't need to go there right now. So that's the camera button. The light editor, that lets you build lights. So I'm just going to click on that. I'm not sure where it is. Perhaps the light editor isn't a thing for me at this point in time. Or I might have to put a light down in order to use it. That's probably it, because, yeah. Weather settings, click on weather settings. Yeah, light editor does nothing. Does turn light on though, so I can adjust the light there. I think when you put lights into the environment, it... Anyway, so we can change weather intensity. We can make it rain. There's the rain. We can make it snow. There's the snow dripping down. We can make it clear weather. You can change weather intensity too. Let's make it really snow. So we're at 50. Let's dial that all the way up to 100. And then if we want to turn up the fog intensity, because we got snow, there we go. Now we're going to zoom in here. Actually, what we're going to do is just run it. And there's our snow. Escape. Don't really need it. Fog range. Turn that down. And weather intensity can go to 50. Perfect. And we're going to go no weather though. All right. That's the weather editor. Then environmental effects. So we can change our skyboxes. So let's go to a stormy day. Go to an overcast day. Let's go to sunset. Now sunset you probably can't see too well here. So we are at a pretty good height to see the sun. But however, if I go down lower here, go over this way a bit more. See that beautiful reflection of on the water of the trees over there. But let's see, is that enough? Not quite, eh? I don't have quite enough. But you can see the lower I get to the horizon, the more the sun is almost beyond the horizon. And if I go up, and you can see it's higher in the sky there now, much higher than the horizon. So just so you know that you can do a lot of affecting there. And you can change the watercolor and all that as well. So there's also these filter effects. So we're going to go in here. Now I don't know why this is so glitchy on me, but we're going to just choose one here. There's a pink effect. Say we want to be Marsy. Let's go with, let's try this one here. That looks kind of Mars. No, that's not really Mars. This one here. There, that. Can't really click on these. It's a strong amber. Anyway, there we go. So there you could do a Marsy effect right there. Like that's pretty, you don't get a lot more Marsy than that, eh? So anyway, I'm going to go back to none because we're not adding anything. And I'm going to close that out because it is glitching like crazy on me. So there are still bugs. This is a work in progress. It is, after all, early access edition. Now, myself personally, I'm feeling like it's still a bit more of a beta edition than an early access. However, I get it. You release to the public, you need some money, you need some income, you got to keep things moving so you can keep developing. Awesome. I just love these guys are making a product like this. It's so much better than their earlier works, and it is definitely got a lot of potential, especially if they get into these two here. So right here, the next item, that brings us to the next item. Next item is shooter games. So what this does is this sets up so that you can see the behaviors and things. So if I go to my start, which I'm not exactly sure where my start is. It's around here somewhere. Start. Sorry, I lost track of my start icon. Why don't I just put them over here? Come offshore here. And we're just going to drag start icon. And we're just going to drag them right there. Boom. Okay, cool. There. So now see how he's blue? If I toggle this off, he's not blue. He's just an object placed in. I can edit all that object stuff. As soon as I click on this, now what that does is that enables this little dot here, and that is for connecting logic to flags, triggers, zones, behaviors, whatever. Excuse me, sorry about that. A little bit of a burp there. You could attach it to many things. You can attach a script to it. You can do whatever you want. That is, though, for first-person shooter behavior mechanisms. So once they have it, they don't have it now. You can't do puzzle systems yet, and you can't do RPG systems yet. So those, I don't know which order they're going to release those in. I'm getting the vibe they're going to work on the RPG next, although first-person shooters and puzzles go well together. So as much as I want RPG, it makes more sense to do some of those puzzle components and get a few key ones built and working that work well with first-person shooters. You know, like solving mini maps or doing like I don't know. There was a game I played years ago, Helix it was called, and it was a first person, and you had to go in and work on combo codes to unlock doors and things. And there's another one where you had to take wiring and mix this way and that way and connect the red to the green and the green to the blue, disarm bombs and stuff. So those sorts of puzzle things go very well with first person shooters. I mean, they go well with role-playing games too. Everything goes well with a role-playing game. However, they would really lend themselves to complement the shooter games, to add much more storyline and context building into it. So from my perspective as developing the game, I would think you would work on the puzzle aspect of it first, or at least a few of the puzzle aspects of it. I mean, you can always add more later when you go in to do the RPG stuff as well, add a few more extra behaviors in then. But you could start with a few there, and they would really let you to really diversify your first-person shooter experience by adding that extra intellectual content to it. Anyway, enough digressing on that. So then, yeah, these two aren't available. And then that is the basics of the shooter game icon. So now what I want to do is just quickly get into this mode, the terrain mode. This video is probably going on pretty long, and I'm probably going to be pushing my limits here. But I'm going to go into terrain mode and give you a real quick overview. So I'm going to zoom out. And so you can move ground up, down, all around. You smooth it, level, blend mode, ramp mode, random mode, and these all let you work with what you've got. So, but what I want to do is I'm going to come out here, and you can change your brush size and your sculpting speed too. You can also adjust your water. I kind of like the water where it is though, but I'm just going to quickly show you water speed, height, etc., etc. Water base color. It's a nice darker blue there. There's also advanced settings, whole bunch, wave size and things you can get into. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make wind contribution just a little bit more. I like that. Water tiling patch size, I don't need to worry about that. Water wave choppiness, let's add a little bit to that. There we go. And wave size, we're going to make that a little bigger too, just to mix that up. So you can see it's repeating tiling on it, but I'm sure that when we get zoomed in on it, it's going to look fine. So now what I want to do is I'm just going to close my water down, and I'm going to go into the sculpt mode here. We're going to make this, what size is my brush? Brush size a bit bigger. There we go. We want to find the center of the island, so we're going to zoom out here. You can see they've laid these down in a radial pattern in some places with the procedural generation of the trees. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're going to go here. And we're just going to try and fill this in here. It's just coming close to the ground now. Come on. It's taking a little bit of time. I can probably bring that sculpt speed up a bit more. There we go. That's helping. Feel free to play around with those too as you need to, right? Now we're just starting to come out of the water. There we go. And then out here a bit more. Come on. All right, that's probably all we need there. All right, now I'm going to zoom back in a bit. Sorry that took so long, just trying to get myself a nice little working island here. Oh, I'm going to go there. Bang. Perfect, 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 perfect. All right. So now, just gonna zoom in a little bit more here. We got our trees all rendering in. We're pretty good there. But what I don't like about it is it's a bit, you know, it's a little bit rough there. So what I want to do is I'm gonna go into level mode here. I'm just gonna go I'm just going to level this out a little bit. Here. There we go. It's a bit level. So we got a nice little island there, and then I want to raise up just a little bit. Actually, we're going to go to blend mode. Blend. And this just kind of smooths out any big bumps we got happening. And then I'm just going to raise up this one here in the middle a bit. And then I'm going to take my level. There we go. And then I'm just going to go to blend. There. Should be pretty good, I think. Let's just take a look, zoom in on that. Take a little looky-loo. I think we're probably pretty good there. So I got this little island in the middle. So the one thing that I got going on here though is I got too many trees. So what I want to do is I want to delete some of those trees. So what I want to do is take this tree here, and I could choose trees, spray trees, clear trees, add a tree, move a tree, remove a tree, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to go clear trees. I got a pretty big brush here. Let's just go. There we go. We got a little hill at the top. And I'm going to take my brush smaller though. We're going to take that down to there. A little bit bigger. And we're just going to go like this. Right on the edge. Down here. We're just going to leave a couple there. 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 And over here, we're just going to go like this. Take a look at this from a different angle here. We're going to clear these off the point. And clear a couple out of here. Then we're going to go. Nope. Take a looky-loo from this side. And here we go. We got. Zoom out a bit. That actually looks pretty good. We're just going to clean these off of here. Oh, bang. Bang. Here we go. Take these ones out of there too. There's our town site. There, we got our town site. Alright, I also want to clear the vegetation. Add vegetation. I don't really have a clear trees. I don't have a clear vegetation, so I guess I'm just going to leave that. And yeah, now I'm just going to drag this start icon over here to the beach. Oh, I'm not in object mode. I was in terrain mode, so I'm going to go back to object tools. Where is that? Identity, place positioning. Oh, that's fine. There. Sorry. Current object. Zoom in. There we go. Perfect. Now, we're going to you've got the overview of this. So the last thing I'm going to do here is just take a quick looky-loo at this island we built. And we still got lots to do, and that'll be in the next one. We'll start populating it, and we'll start adding more trees and things in the level editor, and more grasses and foliage. However, actually, I'm going to escape out of there. One thing I'm going to do first is I am going to go in here to customize, and so that you can get a sense of size, I'm going to come down here. Here's where you can customize all your player stats and stuff. But if you come down here to no weapon, you can assign all these things to it. I'm going to assign melee combat. Hit save. Because melee combat gives me my hands, my first person hands. And in that way, you can get a good sense for my character. So, if I turn around here, not exactly sure where the ground is, so we're just going to run up to the top of this hill. I built this little hill up here. Remember, I moved all the trees from it, so we've just got grass as a starting spot. But we should be able to take a good look around up here from the top. See the light rays coming through, and we're just on medium settings, but you can see that sun's just going down over that hill. So we can see there's the lake in the distance, surrounding our little island. We can't really see this way, but if we run through these trees, I'm pretty sure we're going to get a pretty good view of that. There we go, over a little hump. Through the trees we go, and we can see the ocean there on the tip of the island. You can see some light rays coming through those trees, nice. Pretty cool, and this isn't even highest settings, this is medium settings. You can see we're missing a bunch of shadows and things though, and that's because I've got it on the medium settings. Here we go though, we got this big clearing here at this end, so we can build some adventures right on the island before we even ever leave. So there we go, we're right onto the shore. And there you go around the other side of it. And now we've left ourselves lots of area to explore once we get off the island. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up populating. We'll escape out of here now. So you see how long that took to cross from the starting zone, which was where? The starting zone was there. And so from there, you can see on this little island that we've actually started here. All we did was pretty much run up here to the hill and then ran over it. I think we ran this way over it and down because there was another little hill, and then out to another clearing, which is probably this clearing here. So we've got lots of areas here to work. So as we build, we can build like a temple up here, and we can build some houses, shacks down here, whatever. We've got an area here to put something in. And then of course we can just really refine this as our working area. Then when we put our teleporter in, we can teleport to the mainland here somewhere, and then from there we can have other adventures because of in our area. If we zoom out, we have all this area, like that's as big as the island again, that's as big as the island again. These are like, we could put so many adventures around it just in this one zone. So for making a first-person shooter, yeah, you know, you've sized this down, whatever. You wouldn't bother flushing any of this out if you're not going to leave the island, right? You would just flush out all the details on the island. Now that being said, if you're doing a role-playing game, like you can do quite the role-playing game just in this area that we've built here, which is only, what did I do, 1.75 kilometers or something? So it's not even very big. But that being said, this is a good spot to stop, and I am just going to pick up in the next episode with putting on some more terrain, flushing it out, maybe putting an object or two in. So there we go. Yeah, it's a good second part.